Rob Dauster here. I got Jeff Goodman with me.
Hell no.
John Fink.
Are we still live?
Field of 68 till I die.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out.
Randolph, Childress.
DJ Khaled, you know the big DJ Khaled guy?
Hands thrown up and in.
Goodman needs to be fired all the time.
Josh Pastner.
You're going to beat people straight up.
You know the deal.
Drink responsibly tonight. I'll be drinking with you.
Jerel, McNeal.
From the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors.
This is Field of 68 after dark.
It's the Field of 68 after dark. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being with us tonight. I got Randolph, Childress, and Jerel McNeal with me. My name is Greg Waddell, and it was a quiet night on the men's side of college basketball tonight. Still a couple games going that we've got our eyes on, but we've got a great slate ahead this weekend, and we are going to get you everything you need to know into the week that is coming up in just 2 days. Gentlemen, I've got some burning questions for you that we're going to start the show with. We're going to talk NCAA Tournament sleepers and the bubble. Our bracketology show on this network has just launched this week. We've got another episode tomorrow, so we're learning a ton there. And then we've got the 8 biggest games of the weekend. We'll do a pick'em in the second half of the show. I can't wait to get your guys' thoughts. But as I mentioned, we're going to start with my burning questions. Got a hot one for you, gentlemen. I feel like this could go a variety of ways here. Simply put, who is the best team in college basketball right now? RC, who you got?
I got UConn. I think they're the best team in the country right now as they continue to get healthier and in shape. You know, I think Klingon is back, but I think as he continues to get in game shape, I think it's going to be better and better. I haven't seen anything to change my mind on it. I know I give Rob crap about it. I give their fans crap about it, but they very well could be back-to-back champions. So if I had to pick a team right now, I'd pick them. Even their schedule, I think, is having beaten Creighton, hadn't beaten Villanova now. I think their most difficult game in the next couple of games is, I can't remember, it might be St. John's. At St. John's. They're home for a couple of games as well. The next 2 games, 3 of the next 4 games are at home. I don't see anybody beating them at their place. So I'm gonna go. I'm still big on Purdue, but if I had to say the best team, if I had to put my money on it, I'm going with UConn.
Yeah, they got a lot of winnable games coming up. Their only projected loss the rest of the season, according to KenPom, is at Creighton on February 20th. Everything else projected UConn victory, including a bunch of home games and a bunch of road games against the bottom of that conference. Jerel, do you like the UConn pick, or are you going a different direction?
I actually do like the UConn pick, and just going off what RC said, I think they're probably one of the most complete teams and what they've been able to do, even having some guys in and out of the lineup early on in the start of the season throughout the first half of the season. But I'll take a little bit of a left turn here, and I'll say that quiet as kept, the best team in the country right now might be North Carolina. I don't know if it's any team right now that's playing better. I feel like R.J. Davis is easily probably the best and the most consistent guard in the country right now, in my opinion. And those guys have all the pieces. Armando Bacot is averaging 10 boards a game, 14 rebounds, settling into his role. Not the same, end-all, be-all he was offensively in years past. And then those guys that they had coming in through the transfer portal have just been just spot on with everything that I felt like they needed with Ingram and Cormac Ryan and those guys. So then they had, the young guy coming in, Cadeau and Seth Trimble as well too. And right now I don't feel like it's a team that's playing better than North Carolina at this moment. So
you know what?
Good call
to your point. Yeah, to your point, the only reason I didn't pick them was because UConn beat them earlier this year. So I felt like I needed to give them the slight edge because UConn beat them earlier. But you're right. They playing lights out. Carolina's balling right now. They definitely top 3 team in the country.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that I feel like looks different than the early season version of themselves too. And UConn last season is a good example of that, right? They kind of went through phases where they were dominant in the non-conference. Then I think they lost like 6 of 8 in conference play at one point, and then looked dominant again in the NCAA tournament. Right now, North Carolina looks dominant for sure. 8-0 in ACC play. Hard to see a loss coming anytime soon. Their first game against Duke is at home, So that's obviously advantage, Hubert Davis and the guys. But, gentlemen, come on. I can't let you off this easy. How are we 2 answers into this hot question and nobody's mentioned Purdue? Let's be honest. They got the best player in the sport. They're ahead of both North Carolina and UConn, according to many of the advanced analytics sites that I know and love so well. This is the number 1 offense in the sport. And, guys, they dominated the non-conference. I mean, we saw what happened. They ran through the Maui Invitational. They ran through Alabama and Arizona on neutral site events. Like, have we forgotten how good Purdue is just from a couple road losses in conference play, RC?
No, I'm bullish on them. I think they'll be there when it matters in the end. I mean, we talk about them. I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of UConn. I think I'm a big year in redemption for them. I think this is something that they're going to respond from last year. I don't think any of that stuff it will linger. But, again, we've seen a blueprint. I just said UConn or even Carolina probably they're more versatile. I think UConn has more guys. They're not dependent upon. If I had to nitpick, and I don't think it's a debate on who the top 3 teams in the country are. But, again, we've seen this with Purdue. We're not going to question it with Purdue until the tournament comes around. They're going to run through the Big Ten. We know it. My question with Carolina, the only question I have is how are they going to win when R.J. Davis struggles, when he has an off night offensively? Where is the production coming from? I think he's been the best point guard, if not the best guard in the country. So I'm not saying he's going to fall off, but just even having an off night, how are they going to respond to that? I just think UConn don't have to rely on that one guy to carry him as much. And that's why I said I'd say they are the best team right now. But I'm not – if you say UConn, you say Carolina, I wouldn't argue either way.
Okay. Jerel, what do you think of Purdue? Am I off base throwing the Boilermakers in this conversation?
No, you're not off base at all. And just exactly like you were saying, those guys are right there. It's not a very far margin in between them and what we're talking about UConn. I could have easily said Purdue and nobody would have batted an eye either. And I'll give you 2. I'll give you one thing about both teams that scared me a little bit. And it's sort of like I think versatility was the key word that RC said. Purdue still scares me at times because I feel like they're first half away from Zach Edey getting in foul trouble from them taking an early exit. And I do feel like they're better, and I do feel like they've gotten better since last year with the pieces that they added, and they can sustain it a little bit better. But it's something about him being the end all be all that scares me a little bit because it changes the dynamic of their team so much. And UConn it doesn't because we've seen them play and win games with Cleveland getting out. Obviously it's not the same exact impact as Zach Edey is, at least scoring wise it isn't. But and then for UConn on the other hand, only thing that kind of scares me about them, I still feel like they have some of the most depth, like RC said, and just a plethora of really talented and good players who can get hot and kind of beat you on any given night. Only thing that scares me about them is at the end of games, kind of who you drawing up a play for. I don't think there's a clear-cut go-to guy or a guy we say throw him the ball and let him go to work and we'll see what happens. And there's going to come a point in time throughout the course of the year because I don't think they're going to roll kind of through the NCAA tournament like they did last year. Last year, there weren't a whole lot of close games for UConn for that to even matter. So,
Hey, Greg, I will say this. Hey, Greg, I will say this about Purdue. I asked you about Purdue this. I don't worry about a repeat performance of last year for them, like not making shots. I think Lance Jones helps them in so many ways, extra ball handling. My only concern with Purdue would be a center that stretches the floor that can knock down threes, and he's just making shots that day because they're not switching, right? And they play in drop coverage. They're not bringing Zach Edey out the paint. So if a big man just can't guard him, nobody guards him. He's player of the year, all that stuff's done. I've been on record saying I think he deserves defensive player of the year and player of the year. But if a big man stretches him and can knock down shots that forces him to come out the paint, then I think that's the only thing that beats them. Other than that, they're going to roll.
Yeah, I like that call out. It's hard to imagine like what exact bigs do we think that fit? Like Hunter Dickinson, I could see maybe stretching him a little bit. Or just a team that goes super small, like Illinois doesn't play a traditional center. We're going to see Illinois-Purdue again later this Jackson. But, yeah, it's a good call out, RC. I had one note on to Jerel's point on UConn. I was going to push back and say Tristan Newton can be that guy a little bit. But Tristan Newton's actually really struggled in conference play. I wasn't even aware of this until I just looked these numbers up. He's shooting 33% from the floor, 25% from three on 6 attempts per game from three in the 8 Big East games this season. Small sample size, of course, but those numbers are going to need to course correct a little bit to be feeling really good about UConn down the stretch of the season. So, all right, 3 different answers for who we think the best team in the country is. Apparently that's a good thing at this point in the season. I want to flip this a little bit. And I want to ask you about some disappointments because there's certainly been teams on the other side of this equation. A couple that come to mind for me, not to point 2 fingers, but let's be pointed with it. UCLA is a disaster right now. Arkansas, the wheels of the must bus are falling off. Gentlemen, I'm a fan of a program in shambles. Let's call it what it is, the Michigan Wolverines. I don't even understand what's happening with them. Jerel, who do you think has been the biggest disappointment in college basketball this season?
And this probably won't be the biggest, and it might be a tad bit of an overreaction, but it's just from my personal standpoint, and I'll go Big East with this one, and I'll say Villanova. I thought Villanova was gonna be one of those teams, especially early on in the year, man, with the they got it rolling a little bit, man. They smacked North Carolina pretty good. They had some real good wins, and I'm just like, damn, man. They got all the pieces. They got the older guys. They got some really good guys through the transfer portal, and I just felt like, man, this might be the year. I was like, I don't know if they're going to be in contention for necessarily a Big East title, but I just felt like they would get off and be a little bit more consistent with, just with some of the older leadership that they have and really good players that they have. But, man, they kind of hit a little bit of a wall here, and they starting to worry me a little bit. Obviously, there's time for them to pick it back up, and it's not like a situation where I don't think they're right now in immediate danger of saying, oh, man, they're not going to make the tournament yet because they'll have a lot more opportunities. But they got to kind of wake up a little bit and get it going just to make sure that they're in the field and not on the bubble coming into Selection Sunday. But they've been a little bit of a disappointment. That was a team I was really big on early in the year, and I thought, like, man, this is one of those classic kind of Villanova lineups that can get people trouble and possibly get to the second weekend for sure.
Yeah, 1-4 in their last 5 games. The only win against DePaul at home. That's certainly not trending in the right direction for their NCAA tournament hopes. RC, any thoughts on Villanova and/or who's your biggest disappointment?
You know what? You took one of my answers because I was high on them. I was one that said earlier in the year I thought they could challenge for the Big East and wouldn't surprise me. And they still that type of team that can go in the Big East tournament and win it. The Big East tournament. I thought they'd be better than that. But my biggest disappointment is Arkansas. It's not just that they're losing; they're getting their ass kicked. I mean, Florida blew them out. I mean, it's Ole Miss smacked them. Like there's a difference in losing some close games, but man, they're dropping games by double digits, and I was shocked. And we kept giving them the benefit of the doubt. We're like, oh, must teams always hit the switch, turn it on late. They're going to figure it out. I don't see it. I don't see it. This group is going to figure it out. I know we'll talk about their matchup coming up here, a few minutes, but I've seen nothing to make me think that they've got it figured out.
Yeah, Jerel, what do you think of the must bus at this point? Is it still fair to say you have hope that he could get it back on track before the season ends, or are you all the way out?
No, I'm about out, and at this point, because look, it's to the point now, and I'm looking at the roster, man. They have too many talented players, just to speak to what RC said, to lose the way they've been losing. So they kind of in that danger zone for me. Yeah, they in a danger zone for me where it's like, man, some of these dudes might be kind of all out on this, like the guys on the team, like. And I don't know what the motivation is there right now, and it doesn't look promising for sure, man. They're getting blasted at home, on the road. It really doesn't matter, and that's a place that traditionally has a really good environment, and they have a real home court advantage, man. So, and they got the players, man. They got the talent to do it. So I'm not sure exactly what's happened with Arkansas, but they definitely been a big letdown, and I don't know if they're going to make it. I think they might be out.
Yeah, much like Villanova, they are just spiraling right now. 5 of their last 6 they have lost. The only win, a 1-point win over Texas A&M. I'll just add my answer quickly. I'm going to my Big Ten. I'm really disappointed in Maryland this season. I thought Kevin Willard returned his 3 best players from a team that had Alabama on the ropes in the round of 32. That team cannot shoot the basketball, and he does not have any answers. All right, gentlemen, coming up, I've got a few more burning questions for you. We're going to talk about the biggest NCAA tournament sleepers. We got a special interview with a coach of one of those sleepers. That's next on the Field of 68 After Dark.
What's going on, guys? Before we get back to the show, I need to let you all know about the Field of 68 Daily, an all-encompassing college basketball newsletter that arrives in your inbox, you guessed it, daily. For less than $1 a week, you'll wake up every morning to more than 1,500 words detailing everything that you need to know to stay up to date on the world of college basketball. From the notable mid-major upsets to the stars that are out injured to the breakout performances that only our team of college basketball junkies watched. The Daily is edited and produced by Mike Miller, who spent more than 2 decades running NBC's digital written content, and is subscribed by more than half of the Division I coaching staffs, the biggest names in college basketball media, and the agents that work as power brokers in the sport. For just $50 for the year, you get access to the same information that the insiders get. And before we get you back to your regularly scheduled Field of 68 content, let me tell you guys about the Field of 68 merch store. Head over to field68.shop for officially branded Field of 68 apparel. Whether you're supporting your favorite team in the student section or from the couch, there is no better way to gear up than the latest from the Field of 68. The best thing I can say about our merch is the quality of the product. Anyone that has ever worn a t-shirt knows how frustrating it is when the neck gets all stretched out and the bottom of the shirt starts looking like the bottom of bell-bottom jeans. And there's nothing worse than a hoodie that loses its snugness that makes it such a perfect way to stay warm during the cold winter weather. Whether you're shopping for yourself or for the college basketball fan in your life, everything you need is at the Field of 68.shop.
Welcome back. It's the Field of 68 After Dark. It's Thursday night, and as we speak, Gonzaga's hitting some key free throws to avoid disaster at home against San Francisco. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, it's a quiet slate, but that doesn't mean it's a quiet show for us. We got a bunch of burning questions for the guys. We've got picks for the 8 biggest games of the weekend coming up in the second half of the show. I got Randolph Childress with me, Jerel McNeal with me as well. My name is Greg Waddell. Before the break, I teased. I want to talk about some NCAA tournament sleepers. Our bracketology show, Fielding the 68, is back. It's every Monday and Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We got some of the best bracketologists in the business giving us all the behind the scenes on how they build their brackets, what teams are trending up, what teams are trending down. So I feel like I learned a lot from this week's show on Monday. You guys test here. Let's start with you, Jerel. Who is your biggest NCAA tournament sleeper pick right now?
This was a decent one for me because I feel like I've been kind of tracking this team for a while now, but I think I'm high on I'm going Ivy League. I'm going Princeton Tigers. They're gonna win their tournament. They're gonna get in. They're probably gonna win a game or 2. Man, they got some ballers over there. They were ranked at one point early in the year before they took that one loss. But they got some guys over there that can really play. Man, they run their stuff. They can knock down threes from the outside. And they kind of just got it all figured out early on. That's going to be one of those teams that's going to get in the tournament and you know had that Cinderella slipper on for a couple days or a couple weeks.
I like that pick too. I like that pick. I like that pick because people thinking they play like the traditional old team with all the Princeton cards and all that. They giving you work. They
going to get it this year.
They're giving you some work, so I like that pick. I'm gonna go with a homer pick. I was gonna say, Northwestern. I don't think that they're a team that's a sleeper pick because I think they're in, and you got a guy like Boo Buie. I don't know how much of a sleeper that is, but a team that's not in the tournament right now, and I know I'm gonna get slack about it, but I'm going with the Deeps. I think if Wake Forest gets in the tournament, they are a hell of a. They're a team you don't want to match up with because of their guard play. And then you got Carr averaging 14, you got Hildy averaging 15, you got Boopy Miller averaging 16. Hunter Silas averaging 17. They score 80 a game and they shoot the three. They shoot the hell out of it. Now you can catch them on the night. They're gonna take them. The question is, they play like Louisville. They hit, I think, 18 threes. And you hit 18 threes, you can beat anybody. They played Carolina on the road. They were up 1 at half in the first half on the road against a team that we just argued and said they were the number 1 team in the country. I think they're a dangerous team. Don't get me started on the analytical stuff, getting them in and all that. I ain't even debating that. But if they get in with their guard play and the way they can shoot the ball, they're a team you don't want to play.
You talked about the UNC game. Agreed. Great first half. I watched that game. I bet Wake Forest in that game. I was all over the Deeks. I love all the offense, everything you said. Hunter Salas, I can see it. But then the second half happened, RC. What happened in that second half? I mean, it wasn't just a loss. It was ran off the court. And that can't be all North Carolina.
No. Listen, playing on the road is tough. Like I said, they're going to shoot you in or shoot you out. And they got through a stretch when Hunter Siley was there. They're trying to get Monsanto back out there. You know, he's on a minute restriction. So he comes in there and he shoots a couple and then he knocks down a few, but he's trying to figure it out. They have their challenges inside. And I thought defensively, you know, matching up with Armando, they were playing Armando in drop coverage because if you try to switch on Armando with a guard, you got no chance at rebounding. So I know what the game plan was. You can see they were trying to keep a bigger body on Armando because if you help on the guards, that's one of the reasons R.J. Davis is getting off. Nobody wants to switch because if you hedge his ball screen and Armando gets below you, forget about it. He's cleaning up the glass. So they got high credit to them, man. Carolina's good. They're defending their ass off. We don't have a lot of depth when they get in foul trouble. I think Hunter Silas has to stay out there. He's a shot making and creator, but you know it's one half. That's just as much as we can say about that one half that they played poorly. Let's not forget they led in that first half, and we're talking about the best team, you know, arguably in the country that they did that against. So I don't think Carolina's 25, 30 points better than the Deeks. I just thought they rode the momentum of the crowd and everything else being on the road. Again, I'm not saying they're a Final Four team, but they're a team because of the way they play. And so many scores in the way they shoot the ball, you don't want to play them because there's danger. They're just a dangerous team.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, I've got 2 answers for my tournament sleeper. I'll be quick with these. The first one, Texas A&M. In March, I like teams with 2 things. I like a team that does something at an elite level. I don't care what it is. Just tell me you do something elite. You know what that is, and you're going to show up and do it. Texas A&M is the best offensive rebounding team in the country. Junkyard dogs. They only lost 3 games in the SEC last year. Bad start this year. They're 3-3 in conference play, but they're turning it around. They've won their last 2. The second thing I love, teams with a great guard. Wade Taylor is good enough to get hot for 3 weeks in the NCAA tournament and propel this team to a very, very deep run. And I'm going to stay in the state of Texas for my second one, boys. I think this is the quietest 15-3 team in college basketball. Texas Tech is just sitting here silently undefeated at home. They've won all 11 games in that building. Oh, by the way, went on the road at Texas and pieced them up by 11 against a team with Max Abmas with all this hype from the transfers they brought in. I just think Grant McCasland has been way ahead of schedule. And that's no disrespect because McCasland to me is one of the star rising coaches in the country. Now he's getting a shot at Texas Tech in the Big 12. And he's got his boys ready to play, man. 4-1 in conference play ahead of a lot of these newbies that have entered the conference. And not only that, we got a chance to sit down with Mr. Grant McCasland. Let's show you that interview now.
And now let me welcome on to the Field of 68 After Dark, the man that is currently sitting in first place in the Big 12 standings, Texas Tech head coach Grant McCasland. Grant, I appreciate you taking some time away from your bass fishing trips that you like to take during the season, right? I appreciate you being here with us.
Yeah, my treat, man. Back at you with the bass fishing, man. You know our boys love that. So hard to get time away, but when you do, bass fishing ain't a bad thing to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure. You guys are sitting at 15-3 this season. Your first year at Texas Tech. What has been the biggest surprise so far this year that has come from taking over a new job and being able to have this instant success?
Yeah, well, first of all, you know it doesn't mean anything to be first right now. That's actually the least of my concerns. It's like the gauntlet of getting better, being a good rebounding team. We're not a great rebounding team. I mean, I think there's some things in my mind that I look at that have nothing to do with your record nor who you play next. It's like, what do you need to do to reach your potential? So honestly, I'm not even looking at records. I'm just trying to figure out how we can get better. But I think the biggest surprise to me, and you never know how quickly this takes form with your teams, but is the communication and the buy-in of our guys and the way they talk to each other, right? I mean, like, you can get in these timeouts that are dialed in and you can't even hear each other, and they're waiting for you to communicate what you want them to do, and they're just looking at you like, can we win this game, and two, like, what is it that you want us to do? And I can tell you, this is flipped for us. Like, these guys are really communicating with each other. You're getting timeouts, you're getting huddles, and they're talking about what we need to do. And when you start to get that sense, it's not plays, it's players that are making decisions that are going to impact winning. It's not a scheme. It's what they're doing in that scheme to help each other win. And that's my favorite part of this, man, is like they're talking to each other. And I think that's the biggest surprise so far, is just how connected these guys are to winning and what they're doing together to make that happen.
All right, so I put out my top 20 venues earlier this week, and United Supermarkets Arena was on there. And a lot of people kind of pushed back on me. People that haven't been there, like, how are they on Texas Tech? Come on, what are we doing? Like, those fans, that venue, other than Kansas and Duke, I would say, like, you could put it up there against just about anybody. And obviously I was there when Chris Beard came back to Lubbock a couple of years ago. I will put that environment up there against any environment I've ever been to, Grant, ever in college basketball.
I know we could talk about this for a long time. We could, honestly. So I want to try to be as concise as I can. So the lead up to this, because I was here the night the United Supermarkets Arena opened in 1999. Yes, it was the first year. I have the ticket still from the first game, and it was Bob Knight came here. So we opened the arena, and it was my first job as the ops. And so we opened the arena. So I got to be in this building for the first game and experience it. And then as the head coach, and what a journey it's been on. Great coaches. I mean, like, honestly, really, when you look at the Hall of Fame guys that have been here, it's really pretty unbelievable. Tubby Smith, when he got here and took over that team, and Coach Gillespie, who I actually played for, he's a Hall of Famer in his own right with what he was able to do at different places. Obviously, it's been a pretty wild journey. But, man, I mean, you talk about amazing. I'm going to over right there, that white banner right there, that's the Final Four national championship team banner here. And I tried to get our commissioner in Conference USA to not schedule a game on the night that Beard was coming back to play when Adams was the head coach here at Texas Tech. I'm serious. I called him, like, Ross Hodge and I were like, we are going to be in Lubbock for that game. I mean, like, because the journey leading up to it, what people don't know is, like, Coach Adams and Beard, like, we've all kind of came up in this JUCO underground, like, kind of like
world
who we were coaches. Yeah. And I had to coach. My first 5 years of coaching were against Mark Adams as a head coach. He was the head coach at Howard, and Beard was a GA for a guy named Shannon Hayes, who was an assistant here at Tech when I got here, and he was the guy that hired me back to Midland College when I became a head coach. And he was on the staff with Shannon. So weirdly enough, we all know each other. I can tell you this, what Coach Beard did here, and this kind of leads into this environment, it really is a miracle. It's amazing. And what he built, and I texted him this after we beat BYU on Saturday, and I said, Beard, I went and got some Whataburger, and I was thinking about you, man. I'm like, I don't think we win this game if it wasn't for you and what you built here. Because the fans here, and you know this because played in Fog Allen, had the opportunity to be a part of, like, some really cool environments. Hinkle Fieldhouse, we played there this year. And talking about playing at Iowa State, that's the fans that just get basketball. The fans here, when we need them, they know how to impact the game. And there are very few places know how to really impact winning. And I'm telling you, Texas Tech Red Raiders know how to impact winning. I honestly believe, like Beard. So I texted him and said, hey, man, I just want to tell you thanks, dude. I don't think we win this game if it wasn't for you. So there's a weird, like, love like deep love for this place, but I'm like super appreciative, man, of the opportunity to be able to coach here. And I am beyond blessed because of the history and the buildup of what's come before. Cause I know it, where it started in 99 when we were here and we played we played Indiana and lost, up to what I got the opportunity to experience on Saturday. And I do want to credit what Beard and Adams and those guys did to build this, and specifically Beard, because his belief, and just not in just the marketing and the whole deal, just really got this place to believe that we can win a national championship here. And their approach and impact on the game is really remarkable.
Thank you to Coach Grant McCasland, and shout out to Rob Dauster and Jeff Goodman for sitting down and getting that interview for us. Texas Tech likely safely in the tournament field with the way they're playing. I want to move to the bubble, guys. I want you to give me a bubble team that you think can make the most noise come NCAA tournament time. RC, we will start with you on this one. Who you got?
You know what? My team, I would say, is not a bubble team because they're definitely in, but I think they can make some noise when they get in there, and that's New Mexico. I don't think nationally they get enough credit for what they are. I love their guard play and Donovan Dent, and I call him Monster Mash Jr. and Jalen House. And they all giving you about 15 a game. I just think that's a team that, again, guard play I look at is what can take you far in the tournament. And they're not relying on one guy. When you got multiple guys that can do it, it makes you that much more dangerous. They're definitely in, but I just think they're a team nationally that people don't give enough credit to that I think can make some noise when they get in.
It's a good shout. Jerel, who you got?
For my pick, I went with another team. I'm not sure if they're a bubble team yet, but I think by the time it's all said and done, they might be one of those teams just right on the cusp of getting in or out. I'm going with K-State. Kansas State is going to be a team. I feel like they'll end up getting in, but I think they're going to be right on the bubble. But they got a good team with Arthur Kaluma, Tyler Perry, Cam Carter, all of those guys chipping in, and a good balance with some young guys, too, that chip in early on. I think they're a team that'll be able to get in and make some noise, at least, if nothing else, play a couple tough games in that first weekend.
All right, I like the shout with the purple team, Jerel. I'm going to copy you here. I watched Boo Booey dismantle Illinois last night, and all I could think to myself was this kid's going to do this en route to a second weekend. I think it's going to happen. He was close last year, by the way. They were within possessions of beating UCLA in the round of 32. This kid's special, man, and I like the team they put around him. And I like it so much, I predict this team's going to go to a Sweet 16, and that's my Vaulted challenge for you guys. Vaulted is an app that allows you to participate in daily cash prize pools without an entry fee. It's the place for you to store your own predictions forever, and by using the Vaulted challenge feature, you can prove you're smarter than your friends like Jerel, McNeal, and RC. Go download the Vaulted app, spelled VLTED, to challenge your friends and join daily cash prize pools without an entry fee. Northwestern to the Sweet 16 is my pick. Coming up next, guys, we're going to have predictions for the weekend on After Dark.
Yep. As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 each and every week of the college basketball season. We have a special offer that will be available starting on Tuesday, January 9th and running through Monday, February 12th. The morning after Super Bowl 58. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, in honor of the big game, you can use the bonus code FIELD158 and you'll get $158 in free bets on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not you win that first bet. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD158. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive $158 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD158 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly, which happens quite a bit. When you cross state borders, you just log into your existing account and fire away. You don't have to create separate accounts in each state. It's easy, it's simple, it's clean. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the heart of the college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odd boosts, and my favorite, a nice juicy parlay boost. So download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Field 158.
It's that time here on the Field of 68 After Dark. It is time to look ahead to this weekend slate. Every Saturday slate feels like the best day of the week at this point in the year. And we have a great Friday night game as well. I got Randolph Childress. I got Jerel McNeal. My name is Greg Waddell. And tomorrow night, that game would be Michigan State at Wisconsin. The Badgers got the Spartans the first time they played this season in East Lansing. 8 p.m. FS1, Friday night tip. RC, what are you expecting from the Spartans on the road? Any revenge here?
No. I'm going with the Badgers at home. They already took care of business at Michigan State. I like the Badgers, man. I just think they're the team that, Illinois has a shot. I think they're the second best team in the Big Ten behind Purdue. And I'm going. I see nothing to think of Michigan State to go on the road and get one there. I hadn't seen it.
All right, Tyson Walker's playing a little better, RC. A.J. Hogarth's turned it around as well. But I think this is just a tough matchup for the Spartans. Badgers have size in the front court, man. Mady Sissoko, starting center for Michigan in the first game, had just 2 points and 1 rebound in 13 minutes. He really got played off the court by Steven Crowell. I'm going to go with the Badgers at home as well. It opened up -2.5 with our friends at BetMGM, by the way. Small number at home at the Kohl Center. Jerel, who you got in this game?
I'm actually going to go with the wild card here and go with Michigan State. I think this is going to be their first statement role win. I'm taking a chance on them. If nothing else, my goal is to hopefully they get one and we can create some doubt on RC's take on Michigan State for the season. He said, I know it's going to be hard to do, but they should have some kind of advantage, I feel like, a little bit on the perimeter. A.J. Storr is good, but, man, with Hogarth, Tyson Walker, Jaden Atkins, they should be able to win that battle of the backcourt, hopefully, and possibly steal the game on the road. So I'm going with the Spartans on that one.
All right. RC is looking at you sideways. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, I already know.
I almost went upstairs and went to sleep. I almost went to bed on that. Hey, no, but seriously, Tyson Walker's a ball. I mean, Walker's a bucket, man. I said that. I'm on record with that. I'm a huge fan of his. I just think he has to play really well for them to win. And on the road, he's going to have to play really well. Not that he can't, but that's a lot of pressure and responsibility for him.
Yeah.
And this
Some games he
Wisconsin's
has to
year,
play
man.
really well.
Yeah, Max Klesman is about to be a 40, 50, 90 guy. Max Klesman is going to be a 40. He's close to being a 50, 40, 90 kid.
That's a really bad look for my conference, RC. I'm going to pretend you didn't say that, RC. We're going to move on, okay? We're going to move
90, baby.
We're going to move to Jerel's conference here. Seton Hall is at his Marquette Golden Eagles. Saturday, 1 p.m. on FS1 here. Marquette, 9-point favorites, according to Ken Pomeroy. Seton Hall, a lot of questions with them right now. Kadari Richmond, a late scratch in Seton Hall's loss against Providence. General soreness was the report after the game, but I think his status is certainly up in the air at this point. RC, who you got?
I got Marquette because I'm unsure of what's going on with Richmond. I don't know what that is or if he's okay to play. If he's out, they got no shot of winning. But I do have my concerns with Marquette, man. In the conference play, the backcourt, Cam and Kolick hadn't been shooting the ball well. They're shooting in the 20s, man, from behind the 3-point line right now, and that's that's concerning. We thought that we know the injuries that they've sustained, and we thought they'd be a little bit better overall, and they would be if they had everybody. But the lack of perimeter shooting from those guys is a big surprise for me early in the Big East season.
Okay, I like that. I think it's hard to pick against Marquette in this spot given all the uncertainty with Seton Hall. It hurts my heart to say that because I really like this group that Shaheen Holloway has at full strength. Yes. I do, man. I'm falling for the Shaheen Holloway pick here. They're tough. They're just tough. I love watching them. And, it's not the same team that it was 2 weeks ago right now. And it's scary that you don't know which version is going to show up any given night. With that said, you also never know which version of Tyler Kolick's going to show up. That seems to change on a night-to-night basis. But at home, he's pretty comfortable. I think that's fair to say. I'll go with Marquette, and I don't think this will be a particularly close game. Jerel, I think I know who you're picking here. Who you got?
Yep, it's a no-brainer for me. I'm excited about this one too, guys. Actually, because I'll be able to attend this game as a civilian, so I'll be in the building for this one on Saturday afternoon. But yeah, I'm taking Marquette in the landslide. My former teammate Wes Matthews is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame Saturday, so we're gonna have that little presentation for him and salute to him prior to the game, and you know. Marquette wins by 100, man. You can't lose on these type of occasions.
Hey, man,
So,
you might have to suit up and make some shots.
Sorry,
You
Dagan.
make some shots.
Look. I'm going as a civilian, so y'all might catch me on camera, courtside throwing shit and yelling. So, rebounding gonna be key. We got to hit the glass, man. Seton Hall be on that glass. No offensive rebounds. We'd be good.
Rebounding might be key for you and Wesley Matthews Sunday morning, it sounds like, too, based on what the festivities might be Saturday night. That's what it sounds like. Well, good. I hope you have fun. Yeah, homecoming, always a good affair, and hopefully you can get a W from your boys, Jerel. I'll be rooting for you. All right, let's move to Kansas at Iowa State. This is the first ranked matchup of the weekend that we have discussed. The number 7 Jayhawks at the number 23 Cyclones. TJ Otzelberger, man, at home. He's a different animal, RC. Who you got?
Yeah, he is, but I'm going with the Jayhawks. I think they're only 2-2 on the road this year in true road games. I think some of these teams have to start that we know are really good teams. Some of the top teams in the country has got to start getting some of these games on the road, and I think this is one that they get. So I'm going with Kansas. Not by much. I think it'll be a lot closer than people think. I mean, they're favoring Iowa State, but I think Kansas gets it on the road.
Okay, they need it. They definitely need the resume play at this point, I think. Not that it's not like they're not in the tournament, but yeah, they need the seeding love, right? You don't want to see Kansas as like a 4 or a 5, and they're trending in the wrong direction here. With that said, Iowa State Cyclones 12-0 at home this year. Win over Houston, win over Kansas State, win over Iowa. Those are some good wins at home. I have some serious questions about the Jayhawks. I know Johnny Furphy has been playing significantly better lately. No offense to Johnny Furphy, but I think the defense he's going to see from the Cyclones in this game is going to be a little bit different than some of the defenses that he's really had his breakout games against. I'm going to take Iowa State at home here. I think they get to 13-0 in Ames. We'll see what happens. Jerel, break the tie for us. Who you got in this game?
Yep, I'm with RC. I'm going with the Jayhawks. I think they kind of been put on. I think they've been kind of put on notice since the West Virginia loss. And like you guys said, they're kind of concerned now about making sure that they don't drop or slip too much in that season. So they need to try to stack as many as they can, quality wins, especially against good teams on the road. So that'll go a long way for them on Selection Sunday. I think it's going to be a close one. And obviously Iowa State, man, they are tough at home. They got a great home court atmosphere and environment, and it's a hard place to win that. But I think the Jayhawks use their poise and kind of their veteran leadership to lean on, and they make it out of there with a win.
RC, you ever seen a Hunter Dickinson team plateau in conference play at all?
I know where you're going. I'm not touching that, Greg. I know where you're
going. Ain't touching it.
I'm not touching it. I know where he was going. I was wondering what took him so long to say that, because I swear, I thought he was going to come out the gate with that one. When I said Kansas, I was like, man, that's why I tried to get off it quick. Like, oh, Kansas, let's move on to the next one. I was trying to get off that so fast.
Listen, man, you and I have been doing this for 3 years with me, RC.
Yeah.
You knew what was coming. You know the scouting report. We had to get
I was
there. All right,
you was tired, man. You babysitting, man. I thought you was tired. You know what I mean?
Never too tired for that. Never too tired for that. All right, the final Big 12 game for this block for us here. Texas Tech at Oklahoma, another ranked matchup. Number 20 at number 11. This is Saturday, 2 p.m. on ESPN Plus. For this game, it's a ranked matchup on ESPN Plus. Ladies and gentlemen, come on. RC, what's the pick?
I got Oklahoma at home. I think they need to get it. Just coming off of Texas loss, I think they need to figure it out at home. I just think it's tough to win on the road too. I know I just picked Kansas to get that one, but I don't. I think Oklahoma can't drop back-to-back games at the crib. They'll get it done.
I like that pick. I'm rocking with you, RC. I think this is a prototypical bounce back spot. That's what us bettors refer to over at BetMGM. When you get a team that just kind of put up a stinker at home, right? But they're back at home and they're pissed off. That seems to usually work out in the pissed off team's favor. I trust Porter Moser to get the boys rocking at home for this game. Against, like we said, with Texas Tech, they've kind of been things going too well for them. Jerel, are you with us? Is this a clean sweep for the Sooners?
Yep, clean sweep. Like you guys said, they ride that wave of momentum. The fans will get behind them. They'll feed off of that energy, and they'll be able to stretch this one out to get a win at home.
That terrifies me that we swept this. Never get 3-0 against McCasland. We got 4 more games to pick. That's coming up next. We're going to talk a couple more Big Ten games, a few more ranked matchups as well. We'll get you ready for the weekend, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Field of 68 After Dark.
Now that the college football season is in the past and college basketball is in full swing, I need to tell you guys about our partners over at Rhythm. If you're into sports betting, you need Rhythm, the place for data-backed props and picks. For those that are unfamiliar, Rhythm, spelled RITHMM, is the go-to mobile app for player props and game picks, backed by AI predictive models. Rhythm helps you make smarter and faster betting decisions across all sports, but particularly college hoops, where there are as many as 150 games a day during conference play, many of which have softer lines at BetMGM than you'll find in the NFL or in the NBA. With Rhythm, you get data-backed picks for every Division I game every day. Users get free picks daily with the ability to upgrade to unlimited access. And for those of you already using modeling, you can build custom sports betting models within the Rhythm app itself. I am a Rhythm user, and I found that I've been a better bettor when I focus on the lines where my gut and Rhythm's modeling are aligned. To kick off the partnership between the Field of 68 and Rhythm, 3 people who download Rhythm at the link below and create an account between now and the end of the day on Thursday will be entered for a chance to win a free subscription with access to unlimited picks for college basketball, the NBA, the NFL, and more. So if you want to increase your edge and win more bets, go to the link in the description and download Rhythm today. That's RITHMM, the place for data-backed props and picks.
It is the Field of 68 After Dark. We are midway through our weekend pick'em portion of the show. I got Jerel McNeal here. I got Randolph Childress here. My name is Greg Waddell. Let's get right back into it, boys. Texas at BYU, Saturday, 2 p.m., ESPN2. KenPom has BYU favored by 8 points at home here. RC, who you got?
Man, this was the hardest game to pick for me. This one was the hardest one, but I'm going to go with BYU at home. I like their balanced scoring. It's tough to play and pick against Texas right now. I think they're starting to figure some things out. They've won 2 of their last 3 road games, man. So, but I got to go with BYU.
This was also the hardest game for me to pick, RC, and I landed on the opposite side of the fence from you. So I don't know what that means. I don't like betting against you, RC. You know this.
No, it's all right. But we got to figure it out.
The bottom line for me, as I was pressed into this, was just I truly believe the Texas we've seen in the last week feels like a much better version of Texas than we've seen at any point this season. And I'm buying that that's going to stay here. I don't think that's an aberration. I think that they've kind of turned a corner, figured out how to play together. Max Asmus is extremely comfortable right now, but Dylan Dessou is the guy who has emerged as a really, really consistent threat for them. And on the flip side, BYU, I think BYU is a very good team. I think they're struggling big time with the realization that they're in the Big 12. I mean, the teams they're going to play on a night in and night out basis are just different than they've seen in the past from a physicality standpoint. Just 2-4 in conference play right now. I got to rock with the road team, who I think has more talent than this BYU team has. Jerel, break the tie for us.
Yep, I'm going BYU as well. And this was a tough one to pick because I have been really impressed just the way that Texas kind of picked it up over the last couple of weeks. Speaking of kind of what you said, Greg, I feel like Texas looks like the team that we thought they were going to be going into the season finally. So they're kind of hitting their stride, but at the same time, I still think BYU is a underrated team, and I think they're really good, and they're going to be hard to beat at home, even in the Big 12. They don't have the most talented guys in the world, but they got for the most part, senior-driven group, older guys that know how to play the game, and just doing some digging because I hadn't seen them play a ton. I went back and watched, and the one kid, Jackson Robinson, is kind of must-see TV, man. That dude lets it fly, man, and he's a bucket getter. He can get hot and fill it up quick, and that building gets pretty loud and it gets juiced up. So, and they got about 5 guys that are averaging double figures. So, I think they'll be balanced, they'll be strong, and they'll squeak out with a close one at home over Texas.
All right, I'm solo here. I don't know. I'm hoping that they're still a little pissed off about horns down. I think that's what swung the season in the Longhorns' favor. We'll see.
My God.
Man, I've never seen people get so upset about little horns down, Jerel.
God. Cut it out, man. Cut it out. What a joke.
It's tough. All right, to the Big Ten, that's my country. Indiana's on the road at Illinois. Indiana in turmoil, to say the least, right now. Illinois going to be a little pissed off version of Illinois after the Northwestern loss. Saturday, 3 p.m. on Fox. RC, who you got?
I think Illinois. I don't see how any of us feel comfortable picking Indiana. I don't. I think this is the easiest one probably pick we've had. I think as Terrence continues to get acclimated back with the team, I think he'll be fine. I think he needs to be home for a little bit. I think the road, obviously going on the road, the distractions of everything that he's gone through, having to hear all that and deal with all that. But besides, I just think they're a better team, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think this will be the easiest game of the weekend.
I think I'm right there with you. I'm going Illinois as the pick. With that said, the one thing that concerns me for Illinois here is that if you go through their last 5-6 games, the one thing they have not been able to do defensively is guard the post. Like whoever the other team's best post scorer is has gone crazy every single game in wins and losses. And that's all Indiana wants to do. So if Illinois does come out and do the switch everything little scheme, I think Malik Renew and Khalil Ware will both have opportunities to take advantage of the little guys guarding them in the post. But even if they play their A-plus game, Illinois has too much at home in a bounce-back spot. I love the Illini. Jerel, what's your pick?
Yeah, I'm going Orange Crush as well. It'll be tough. They'll make it tough defensively on Indiana. We know that's a team that struggles making outside shots. They got guys that can score on the interior, but they'll be prepared for that. Underwood will get those guys going, especially after that, coming off of that tough loss against Northwestern. Well, the majority of their team look pissed off already, so they'll be ready. They'll have a good game plan, scouted up for Indiana, and they'll Illinois roll in this one.
Hey,
RC, who's going to have
Hawkins won a fight, then he got somebody inside him to fight this game. So since he won a fight, we let him go. We throw him down there with Ware. He can go fight Ware, get all this frustration out.
Yeah, you're not wrong. RC, who's going to have more points this weekend, Xavier Johnson or you?
Oof, ouch. He's got to play better, right? He's got to play better, right? I mean, he has to. You know what? He will. He's going to play well. Okay. I'm going to say this. He's going to be the reason they're going to be in the game. I'm going to say that.
Okay.
He's going to be the reason.
All right. I'm going to circle that one. We'll see. Clemson at Duke is the next one to the ACC. RC, who's your pick?
Dukies, man. Dukies just lost at home to Pitt. No way in hell they're going to lose a game in Cameron for the rest of the year. Cut it out.
I got Duke, no questions asked, except one question asked. Are we sure Duke's not a little bit soft? If they lose this game, I think that's a fair question to ask. We'll come back to that. Jerel, what's your answer?
Yeah, I'm going Duke as well. I don't think they're going to drop this one at home, but I definitely think they'll get challenged. Clemson will come here ready to go. One of their perimeter guys is going to have to do something for them to have a shot to stay in the game, though.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the final game on our pick'em sheet here. We've got Kentucky on the road, Bud Walton Arena, against the must-bust, the Arkansas Razorbacks. RC, you don't dare pick against Kentucky here, do you?
No, but I got something to say about Kentucky later. I guess I'll save it for the afters. I'll say this about Kentucky if we go forward. The talent's there. They need to be better defensive. This is a Final Four talented team. If they don't win it this year, with all the crap that Calipari takes Kentucky, we watching all the OGs kind of say, peace, man. They out of here. They tired of dealing with all this. No one ever thinks that Cal might say, man, I had enough of this, and either moves on or goes somewhere else. Why wouldn't he? He's not as old as some of the other guys, but he's 64, and he's been in this thing a long time. So my question is that a fair question that you asked about Cal if they don't win? Because we know the narrative. This team is in the tournament. They expect a deep run. If they don't make a deep run, because with young guys, the kryptonite is veteran teams. Like playing a Tennessee-type team in the tournament, when you young, that's that's just part of it. So how fast does these young guys grow up and get ready for the tournament? But if they don't, is it fair to say, does Kyle be like, man, I had enough of this BS and throw the deuce sign to Kentucky? Am I tripping him when I say that or not?
I love a conspiracy theory. Jerel, what do you think? Is he tripping?
I don't necessarily think he's tripping because, man, Cal, he has been getting a lot of shit the last couple of years. And, at some point, him being as accomplished as he is, he could kind of walk off. My only thing is, man, where does he go? Kentucky is one of the pinnacles of the college basketball sport. Where do you go from there? Do you make a step down in a sense? You know what I mean? Did the NBA know?
Pitino turned down big jobs to go to St. John. It could be something near and dear to him that he wants to do. I'm just saying from a standpoint of dealing with all that, because he's going back to the freshman. So if he don't get another Zion or another Anthony Davis or another one of these guys, will he win it? Will he even win it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's a fair question to ask. I'm going to need to make some phone calls and get that Michigan football money prepared just in case this happens. Hey, the pick is Kentucky for the record. I assume, Jerel, you're going the same way?
Yeah. Yep, Kentucky as well.
Okay. Yeah, clean sweep then here, boys. Of all the games that we just talked about, I gave you 8 games. Which game are you most excited for this weekend, RC?
Wow. I think Texas-BYU. I think that's the hardest one. I'm excited to see that. I think BYU is tough. I think they're going to be good at home. I think they'll struggle to road, but they're good at home.
Jerel, you can pick the game you're going to if that's what has you most excited, by the way.
I am. I'm super excited about that game. And I think it'll be a good one because I do think Seton Hall they're finally a formidable opponent this year. Shaheen has got it going. He's got to be a early candidate for Big East Coach of the Year, man. Just the job he's done. So I'm excited to catch that one live and in person.
Yeah, that should be good. I'm going Kansas, Iowa State, team that desperately needs a resume win versus team that's unstoppable at home. Hunter Dickinson, we'll see what happens. Hey, for Randolph, Childress, for Jerel McNeal, I'm Greg Waddell. We'll be in the last call on Stadium taking your questions next. Thanks for watching.